We are the Bionicles! You can never defeat us! Whoop. We work together! I know what can defeat you. Bring it in. Got it. Bring what in? When we were kids, Myth and I loved to collect the Bionicle toys. They were so cool, so badass, and they even had their own little plastic carrying containers. Now, we haven't bought one in quite a while, mostly because they got less complicated and LEGO was too greedy with them, and they don't give them the awesome little cases anymore. I mean, I don't want to be that old man, but back in my day, they were 10 to 15 bucks. Now they want 20 to 30 a piece for less. So I haven't even looked at the line in quite some time. That and all my money now is going to video games and Chinese food and board games and building my computer, and I'm poor. But the point is, Bionicles were awesome, and I knew my Bionicles back in the day. I would even read the comics in the magazine that my grandparents had subscribed to for us kids, so... memories. Now, the first thing you need to realize upon picking up this game is that you will be very confused. Even with how much I knew about the toys and the storyline of the generation this game is set in, I didn't know what they were talking about a lot of the time. What's the son of Makuta? Do you mean the Rockshi? They have a name. What's a Suva? And this is normal. I will also warn you ahead of time, as I played through this game, most of my notes included, "Wah?" But let's start from the very beginning, a very good place to start. So the game opens with a stubbly villager character talking about how incredibly awesome the Towa are. From context, we can assume the Towa are the heroes, and they jump into action to save the villagers as evil dragonflies arrive. Just like the comics, the impulsive and brash Towa of Fire rushes ahead to confront the threat. And right away, these controls are really rough. Double jumping feels as natural as cling wrap, and attacking and shielding happens on a weird delay. The jump itself also is very, very difficult to aim. There is no shadow underneath you as you jump, and your depth perception is constantly thrown off by this and the camera angle. If there was just a shadow, or if the camera angle wasn't horrible, then I could tell where I'm jumping, but instead I didn't even see this jump until I fell into lava. And somehow the Towa whose defining power is control over lava and fire, who in the comics I distinctly remember repeatedly seeing him swim in lava, dies instantly to his own element. So of course we respawn at the beginning of the level. We just have to run over to... So apparently in this game, when you respawn, you don't actually just show back up at the start of a level. It reloads the entire level. Cutscenes, collectibles, everything. It just reloads you into the opening to the level from your last checkpoint. So you continue to work your way throughout the level to find the next issue within minutes. There's a super powerful attack that's almost required to defeat some enemies. To execute this attack, you must press attack 3 times in timing with how the Towa swings. First issue with this is the timing is different for every Towa. The timing is also very, very strange. But the bigger issue that you can't learn your way around is that you cannot interrupt the attacks in order to pull off the big move. So if you shield to prevent being hit, you can't use that attack. The attacks also take several seconds to use, so you will be attacked and hurt. Getting hurt will also count as an interruption and cost you the special move. Before you know it, you're already facing what seems to be a boss fight made up of the annoyingly difficult to defeat scorpions. And upon their death, nothing happens. What now? What just happened? What is going on? Who is in the light? Why is there a lizard on a treadmill? Oh, who cares? Progress! This is our first fight with the Bow-Rock. Awesome ball enemies with special masks inside that can hurt the Towa. Quick question though. What are the ice enemies doing surrounded by lava? I mean, yes, ice is the opposite of fire, but they keep burrowing underground where there is only lava. They are categorically dead. But after you learn their patterns and defeat them, we discover the little mask, or Krana, that was controlling them. The Towa of Fire makes some comment asking, "What is it doing to my mind?" Who knows? We never get an explanation. Then the Chronicler appears. Who's the Chronicler? I have no idea. I thought this was the generation of Bionicle that I knew best, but who's this guy? Well, Fire Toa goes off to warn Ice Toa, and we change the character we're controlling. The Ice Toa was always one of the coolest dudes in my opinion, no pun intended. He had this cool mask that made him look like some kind of Black Ops military dude. He had his awesome double-pronged sword that could be an ice skate. He had his shield. So what awesome stuff is he gonna do in his level? Well, he snowboards down the mountain on his shield. You need to constantly hold your control stick forwards to speed up, because if you don't complete the level fast enough, you will die. This makes it very difficult to move back and forth to dodge rocks. Obstacles will also appear so fast that unless you already know the track you'll be traveling on, you will hit them. That's even without the random changes in camera angle that make no sense and are never used to get in the game, like the behind view that inverts your controls, or the first person mode where everyone looks like you went to hell. Then you add in the glitching and the clipping issues. Who knows what's going on? Not me! And there are fire enemies in the snowy mountains, so I guess they are trying to choose thematic foes. You have to snowboard perfectly. If you hit something, you're not going to be going fast enough to catch the bow rock. If you clip for a moment, you won't be going fast enough. And sometimes the game clips out on thin air. Once you memorize the path and eventually somehow win, you'll get a weird cutscene. We have only collected 2 Krana, but suddenly you see all of the Krana. Then all the Toas start flipping and transforming, and what is going on? I couldn't figure it out while I was playing the game, but after going back and watching the footage again, I pieced it together. The Toa are transforming from their original 2001 forms into their 2002 Toa Nuva forms. What I was not able to piece together watching the footage back, however, was why this is happening. I can't even give it props for looking pretty, because the whole game is kind of ugly. I guess the animations do technically look better than something on N64 or PS1, but this looks like something I would expect from the launch year of a system, and it came out 2 years after the Gamecube's launch. With the inexplicable transformation out of the way, we gain control of the Toa of Water now. Her special power is swimming. This level is the worst so far. It has a great deal of verticality between the water and rising cliffside standing points, but the camera is not free roaming, only shifting ever so slightly up and down. I actually had to look up a walkthrough to get to the end of this level, which I feel very ashamed about. Jumping out of the water is as smooth and fluid as rancid 2-week-old butter left out of the fridge. After another boss fight against a bunch of bow rock, we swap control to the Toa of Earth. His power is to run fast, so of course, his level is a minecart level. That makes sense, right? Just like the ice sledding level, you pretty much have to learn the route in order to survive the level. You have to tag all 6 statues to unlock the big door, and for the first time ever in this game, something carries over after death. None of the collectibles stay saved still, and we have to watch the cutscene, but somehow the lock progress is saved. How on earth that is programmed, I can't begin to guess. The door opens and we can progress and instantly stop playing as the Toa of Earth. His level is done. Now it's the Rock Toa's turn. Oh yeah, he was the other coolest character because his weapons were chainsaws, and you could attach them to his feet to the character for him to drive around like the most badass, awesome person you've ever imagined, just ripping up enemies just by driving over them. Immediately we encounter my favorite type of enemy, the Rockshi, or Sons of Makuta if you're stupid, or a Toa. So stupid. Let's do battle with chainsaws! You suck! He sucks more than you know, too. Not only does water kill him, not only did he get wrecked in one shot by his enemy, not only does he just shoot lasers out of his chainsaws instead of actually using them, his power to push rocks. And pushing rocks sucks, because you slide off of the rock as you try to push it. There's also an entire area of instant death traps. If you move right up to be ready to get past them in the tiny bit of time you have, you'll be thrown back and away. Turns out you're not supposed to run, you're supposed to get as close as humanly possible and then jump over. And you still might die with how tight the gap is. But once you catch back up with the Wind Rockshi, it's time for an epic boss battle of pushing rocks into holes in the ground. For no reason or explanation, we're now in a cutscene of the Toa of Water warning the Toa of Wind about the appearance of the Rockshi. Except he somehow already knows, and we already discussed the illegibility of what's being said here. His special power is to glide through the air, which makes this level now the new worst level yet. Every time I say to myself, just push through, it can't get worse, it actually does. The issues with depth perception are compounded by the momentum of the glide. New types of tree leaves to stand on are introduced out of nowhere that drop out from under you shortly after you stand on them. There are also dirt mounds that act the same way. These cause their own problem that the controls like to glitch out if you're standing on something moving, so unless you start jumping to the next platform the moment that you land, you won't be able to make it to the next platform. This assumes that you even know where the next platform is, since the layout of these levels are poorly designed. They try to lay out a trail using glowing orbs, but sometimes they only drop those orbs out of nowhere when you get close, which is beyond useless. And in some levels you can see orbs in the distance, but there will be a great deal of platforming required to move just that short distance. Surmounting all of this also assumes that your glide actually goes off. Sometimes the sound effect will play saying that you've begun to glide as you plummet to your doom. What about this balloon? I tried to move to get onto it and I glitched down between the platform and the cliffside. Was I supposed to jump there? I see no gap. On the second try, the balloon drops you down, straight down. As in, exactly where I was falling when I died. And then there's this bird. This bird. You need to start your glide behind him and then stay directly behind him on his trail. If you leave his trail, it's instant death. They supposedly have these orbs laid out to show you the trail, but because of the twists and turns combined with the camera angle, combined again with the trees and the bird's own body blocking your view, you just need to memorize the route of the trail by trial and error yet again. And this tree! If you are in the middle of this bird stream, you will drop out of the air because you hit the tree. Look at this! Look at it! I'm not even close to this tree! But if I fly any further away, I leave the bird's trail and die. And the bird makes a sharp right-hand curve right after the tree that you will drop suddenly out of the air unless you're staying so close to the tree that you can't stay close to the tree because its hitbox would dwarf the entire eastern seaboard and makes Garwoman look reasonable. There are games that frustrate me. There have been times I've wanted to give up, and I will say that this game is still not as bad as Elmo's Letter Adventure. But with that statement made, that game never made me literally cry. This section brought me to real, physical tears out of frustration, anger, and desperation. And then, right at the end of the trail, despite being directly behind the bird, I drop to my death. So, it put me on the rocks that I fell away from. I'll take it. Down the tunnel, and you must face off against the Rockshi of Earth in a weird boss battle. You have to get him to fall into the water before he makes you fall in, and it's a derpy fight. It's stupid, but whatever, I win, and no! I can accept Ice Bow Rock and Lava. I can accept the Rock Toa being useless, but clearly, someone did not do their research. Rockshi do not use masks. They have this worm thing that sits inside of their backs. It's their own unique, awesome thing, and you just gave them masks. The masks go with the bow rock. Weird worm things are called krata. Krana? Krata. Not the same thing at all. On top of that, you already had to have collected all of the Krana according to the random transformation sequence, so where is this coming from? Whatever, I think we're almost done. The Chronicler appears again, talking about how he had the mask for the 7th Toa, but the Rockshi stole it. So, playing as the transformed Toa of Fire, you must race down a lava flow. Okay, no! No! That is the Rockshi of Ice! It is surfing on lava! That is the special ability of the fire characters, i.e. Toa of Fire, Bowrock of Fire, Rockshi of Fire. Can the Toa of Ice slide down on his shield down the lava? No! Why can the Rockshi of Ice, then? And once again, you have to memorize this path to win. And this is some absolutely horrible rubber banding mechanics. If you're ahead, the Ice Idiot's top speed is vastly increased. If you're behind, he will slow back down so that you can catch up. If he comes from behind and he bumps you, that's a hit. You're taking damage even if you had your shield up for some reason. But you make it to the end of the level before him, which there is nothing marking or denoting it as the end of a level, I should add. And the level just ends. Out of nowhere. No scene, no climax, nothing. It just stops and a result screen pops up. After the results screen, we see the mask fly out of the Ice Moron's hands and go flying into the Chronicler's face. If it is magically attracted to him like that, why didn't it do that while he was carrying it before it was stolen? And then the 7th Toa travels alone to fight against the Makuta. Why alone and on his own? The entire point of every comic and everything about the Toa has always been, we have to work together to accomplish things. Why does he do it on his own? And how did he even get there? What is going on? Who knows? Who cares? This game is almost over. Stage 1 of the boss fight is the easiest. He summons waves of enemies. Just survive and kill them, which is easy when you have infinite energy to attack with, so you can just run around far away from enemies and throw pointless attacks in the hope that something will lock on for no reason and kill your foes. Phase 2 is more ridiculous. There are 4 stones around the battlefield. You have to jump onto each of them to flip them over to show your picture instead of his. Remember to get off them fast though, because if they flip with you on them, you will fall to your death. Once all 4 are flipped, you can reflect his attack back at him with your shield. He flips all the stones back over and drops down some of the rocks out from beneath you. Now remember that issue I mentioned about moving platforms. That applies to these rocks too. If you're standing on a rock and it starts to move, your chances of actually getting off it in time and escaping are slim to none. But if you're prepared and are on a rock that won't vanish, you get to step on all the stones over again. Do you also remember the issue I mentioned about depth perception and having no idea where your jumps are going to put you? Double that with this zoomed out camera angle. Then triple that if you're jumping towards the screen as you're required to do here to get onto the rocks to flip. Once you die repeatedly and get lucky on that part, you can reflect another bolt. He drops more rocks at seemingly random, but now he's totally open. When you can reflect bolts back at him now, he enters a vulnerable state where you can finally attack back, which you will have to leap up in the air to do to gain enough height for your lasers to hit. Every time you put him into the vulnerable state, random rocks that are left will suddenly flip, dropping you into the bottomless pit of death and forcing you to start all over. If you're standing on the stone that will flip, it shakes first, but there is still no time to respond. You're already locked into the animation to jump and attack because you don't have long to do so. If you wait to see if the rock shakes, you'll miss your chance to hit him. If you jump and attack, you just have to pray that it doesn't flip or you're going down. Look at this. I'm about to land the last hit and the stone flips beneath me. There is no way or time to jump to save myself. I'm falling and I win. I died. I'm not even on the screen. I am down below it in some kill plane, but I win. The save screen proves it. So we get a final cutscene where the Toa of Light takes off his mask, which I seem to remember as being lethal to Toa, but whatever, puts it onto his defeated foe, and they become a new Toa, the balance of light and dark. He starts monologuing as if everyone is watching him, but he is literally the only person there, and he declares that he will awaken the Great Spirit. With that, he forces open a door bodily. Light spills out, he is silhouetted, and the credits roll. Oh, thank you, sweet Morrigan. It's over. This game is horrible. I knew that it'd be cheesy, that's what Bionicles always were. Awesome, but kind of stupid heroes and masks. With the LEGO name on this, and with how much I've enjoyed the LEGO games in the past, I really thought this might be something fun. But instead, I got something that used a whole different made-up language a lot of the time that left me in the dark in the cutscenes, and gameplay that made me wish I could go back to those cutscenes. The best characters are relegated to sledding down a mountain and pushing rocks. With a game that actually drove me to tears, there can be no way to ever recommend it. Do not discover this game for yourself, my Holt. Just snatch up any real Bionicles that you find at a yard sale. You'll get way more enjoyment out of them. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this longer video, especially in comparison to last week. I know it's much more dry, less funniness, but game is so bad. Well, stay tuned next week for another game based off of something iconic to my childhood. I'm not going to give it away, though. So until next week, remember, life is always another game waiting to be discovered.
I thought we were throwing it in the tub.
We are. That one's just already in there. Alright, ready?
I thought you said you need one in front of it.
I got one. Oh, that's why I didn't put it like that. I was like, why isn't it pan further over? Because then you can see the thing. It makes him look like some kind of cool Black Ops military dude. He's got his awesome little sword.